What if I told you that almost everything you've been taught about growing lettuce is actually making it harder to keep alive? Most people follow the basic rules: water it, give it sun, plant it in soil, and still watch their lettuce wilt, bolt, or rot before they ever get a single harvest. Here's the twist: lettuce isn't a hard plant to grow, it's just a plant that dies fast when even one small thing is off, and most gardeners never find out what that one thing is. Today we're going through the exact mistakes that are quietly killing lettuce in gardens everywhere, and more importantly, what to do instead. Each one comes with the diagnosis, the real reason it's hurting your plant, and the precise fix you can use right away. Number 4 surprises almost every gardener who hears it, and the secret technique we're saving for the very end. It has to do with your soil temperature, and once you hear it, you'll wonder why nobody ever told you sooner. Let's fix that today. Here's the truth most people miss. Lettuce is a cool season crop. That means it was built by nature to grow in mild temperatures, consistent moisture, and soft, indirect light. It was never designed to fight blazing afternoon sun, dry soil, or random watering schedules. You've been fighting nature, but lettuce actually works with it when you let it. The system is simple: match your lettuce to the conditions it was built for, and it almost grows itself. Now let's get into the real stuff: the exact mistakes, the reasons behind them, and the fixes that actually work. Mistake 6: watering lettuce with a heavy stream. Here's the mistake: you grab your hose, turn it on full blast, and water your lettuce the same way you'd water everything else in the garden. Here's why it kills the plant. Lettuce has extremely shallow roots, most of them sit just 6 to 12 inches below the surface. A heavy stream of water hits the soil with force, compacts it, and actually pushes those roots around. Worse, it splashes dirty soil up onto the leaves, which opens the door for fungal diseases to take hold. The plant ends up sitting in a puddle on top while the roots below stay damaged and struggling to absorb anything useful. Here's exactly how to fix it. Switch to a gentle watering method. A watering can with a rose head, a drip irrigation line, or a soaker hose works perfectly for lettuce. Water a little consistently to keep the soil surrounding the plant evenly moist, never flooding it. Keep the water aimed at the base of the plant, not the leaves. Wet leaves sitting overnight are an open invitation for rot and mildew. Gentle and consistent beats heavy and random every single time with lettuce. Mistake 5: ignoring soil pH before you plant. Here's the mistake: you fill your bed with soil, press your seeds in, and start watering, never once checking whether the soil is actually ready to feed your lettuce. Here's why it kills the plant. Lettuce needs a soil pH between 6 and 6.5 to absorb nutrients properly. Even a small drift above that range starts locking away the good stuff your plant needs. The roots are right there, but they literally cannot pull in what they need. You'll see yellow leaves, stunted growth, and a plant that looks sick no matter how much you water or feed it. The problem was never the plant. It was the soil chemistry blocking everything from the start. Here's exactly how to fix it. Before you plant anything, grab an inexpensive pH test kit or meter from any garden store and test your soil. Work in plenty of compost or aged manure for more nutrients and better texture. To raise pH, add garden lime. To lower it, add sulfur, but always test first before adding anything. This one simple step takes less than 5 minutes and can completely change your results. Fix the soil first, and everything else gets easier. Mistake 4: planting lettuce at the wrong time of year. Here's the mistake: you wait until the weather feels warm and comfortable outside, maybe late spring or early summer, and then you go ahead and plant your lettuce thinking the timing is perfect. Here's why it kills the plant. By the time the air feels warm and pleasant to you, the soil is often already too hot for lettuce. When temperatures rise, especially the soil temperature, lettuce shifts from growing to reproducing. It bolts, sends up a stalk, and the leaves turn tough and bitter. Lettuce was never built for summer heat. It was built for the cool, mild days of early spring and fall. Plant it too late and you are not growing lettuce anymore. You are just watching it panic and give up. Here's exactly how to fix it. Plant lettuce early. In most areas, that means getting seeds or transplants into the ground 4 to 6 weeks before your last expected frost date in spring. For a continuous supply, plant lettuce every couple of weeks until about 4 weeks before daytime temperatures regularly hit 75 degrees F. Once it gets hotter than that, bolting comes fast. You can also sow again in late summer for a fall harvest when temperatures cool back down. Work with the season, not against it, and lettuce almost grows itself. Mistake 3: over-fertilizing your lettuce. Here's the mistake: you want your lettuce to grow big and fast, so you feed it regularly with fertilizer, figuring more nutrients means better plants. Here's why it kills the plant. Lettuce is a fast-growing leafy crop that does not need heavy feeding during its growing cycle. If you supply too much fertilizer, it can cause an imbalance which stops the plant from thriving. Too much nitrogen in particular pushes the plant to grow rapidly but weakly, producing soft, watery leaves that are highly attractive to pests and far more vulnerable to disease. Even worse, excess fertilizer salts build up in the soil around those shallow lettuce roots and begin drawing moisture away from the plant instead of toward it. The lettuce ends up burned from the inside out. Here's exactly how to fix it. Prepare your soil well before planting by mixing in compost or aged manure. Lettuce doesn't typically need to be fertilized while growing. The crop grows quickly and should have all the nutrients it needs from what you applied at the time of planting. If your lettuce looks pale or slow, a light liquid feed of balanced fertilizer once is plenty. Feed the soil before planting and let the plant do the rest. Less is genuinely more when it comes to feeding lettuce. Mistake 2. Ignoring pests until it is too late. Here's the mistake. You plant your lettuce, check on it every few days, and figure that if something was seriously wrong you would be able to tell. So you wait until you see obvious damage before doing anything about it. Here's why it kills the plant. The pests that destroy lettuce the fastest, aphids, slugs, and cutworms, do most of their damage before you ever notice them. Aphids cluster on new growth, causing curled or yellowing leaves, while slugs leave ragged holes, and cutworms can sever seedlings clean at the soil line overnight. By the time the damage is visible and obvious, the infestation is already deep. A lettuce plant that has been quietly attacked for days is already weakened, stressed, and wide open for disease to move in right behind the pests. Here's exactly how to fix it. Make it a daily habit to inspect your lettuce, especially the undersides of leaves where pests hide. Look for slime trails from slugs, curled leaves from aphids, or black specks, which are pest droppings. Catch them early, and simple fixes work perfectly. Insecticidal soap for aphids, beer traps for slugs, or sprinkle food-grade diatomaceous earth around the base of your plants. Early action takes 2 minutes. Waiting costs you the entire plant. Stay ahead of the pests and your lettuce stays healthy. Mistake 1. Cutting lettuce from the wrong spot. Here's the mistake. Your lettuce finally looks ready, you're excited, and you take a knife or scissors and cut the whole plant down from the base, thinking that's just how harvesting works. Here's why it kills the plant. When you slice lettuce off at the crown, the base where all new growth comes from, you destroy the plant's ability to regrow. If you slice lettuce at the base, you kill the plant. But if you leave the growing point, the center where new leaves emerge, it will regrow. Most gardeners don't realize they just turned a plant that could have fed them for weeks into a one-time harvest. One bad cut and the whole growing cycle ends right there. Here's exactly how to fix it. Always harvest by snipping the outer leaves first and leaving the center of the plant completely untouched. Work from the outside in, taking only what you need each time. For loose-leaf varieties, this means multiple harvests from one single sowing. One healthy lettuce plant, harvested correctly, can keep feeding you for weeks before it ever needs replacing. Cut smart from the very first harvest, and your lettuce patch becomes a gift that keeps giving. Quick pause right here. If any of these mistakes sound familiar, you are not alone. Most gardeners make at least 2 or 3 of them without ever knowing. Drop a comment below and tell me which one got you. I read every single one and I genuinely love hearing from you. Now let's keep going because the best part is still coming. Look, none of these mistakes mean you are a bad gardener. They mean nobody ever showed you the full picture. Most gardening advice out there tells you what to do but never explains why certain things quietly work against your lettuce from day one. Think about it. You were watering with a heavy stream, not knowing it was compacting the roots. You were planting when the weather felt right, not when the soil temperature actually was. You were feeding your lettuce extra fertilizer thinking you were helping when you were actually burning it. You were waiting to spot pests instead of checking daily. You were cutting from the base and wondering why it never grew back. Every single one of those things made total sense at the time, because nobody told you any different. But now you know exactly what the mistake is, why it hurts the plant, and precisely how to fix it. That changes everything. Lettuce is not a difficult crop. It just has a specific set of needs, and once you match those needs, it rewards you fast. You are not fighting your garden anymore. Now you are working with it. Alright, you stayed till the end, and that means you get the good stuff. Here is a technique that almost nobody talks about. You won't find it in most gardening books, and it sounds almost too simple to work. It's called the ice water trick. When summer temperatures start creeping up and your lettuce begins to show early signs of stress, leaves slightly wilting in the afternoon, growth slowing down, take a small amount of ice and place it directly on top of the soil around the base of your lettuce plants in the morning. Not on the leaves, just on the soil. As the ice melts slowly, it delivers cool water gradually and gently right down to those shallow lettuce roots. It lowers the immediate soil temperature around the root zone just enough to relieve heat stress and buy your lettuce more productive days before it bolts. It works because lettuce is sensitive to heat from every direction, the air and the soil. Cooling the root zone gives the plant a little relief and slows down the urge to bolt, buying you more days of fresh leaves before it gives up. Simple, cheap, counterintuitive, and it works. Try it once and you will never let hot weather steal your lettuce harvest again. And that is everything you need to stop killing your lettuce and finally start harvesting it the right way. 6 mistakes, 6 fixes, and 1 secret technique that most gardeners will never even think to try. If this changed the way you think about growing lettuce, hit that subscribe button. There is a lot more coming that will completely shift the way you look at your garden. And if you know someone who keeps struggling with their lettuce, share this video with them right now. It might save their entire harvest. Thanks for watching all the way to the end. Now go grow something great.